boy? Yo, what's up, brother? Good afternoon to you too, bro. I appreciate all the support in the recent videos as well. I love seeing the comments every video. It makes my day, 100%. How's your team shaping up for Game Week 31? We're going to go through how we got on Game Week 30, go through the final team for Game Week 31. Only 45 minutes until the deadline, so pretty much this is going to be our final locked-in team. We'll go have a look at it in just a second. We'll also just go over some team news and answer any of your guys' questions as well if you have any questions about Game Week 31 or the rest of the season. Of course, drop them in the chat. If you want, I can go through predicted lineups. I'll probably go through some predicted lineups as well, as there will be some players that are coming back from injuries, such as Luke Shaw, who do have a chance of playing. I've got Manchester United's predicted lineup, a bunch of other ones as well, and also just go through news in press conferences. If there's anything that people are interested in knowing, go through each manager's press conference, any late injuries, any more team news as well. We'll go through that. But for now, we'll just have a look at our team for Game Week 30, how we got on. If you haven't seen either of the two videos midweek, whether that's team selection or transfer plans, we showed how we got on in Game Week 30 in those videos. Overall, pretty decent week for us. We scored a total of 60 points. There's the team there. There it is with the bench as well. De Gea, 6 in goal, which is very nice. Henry, 5. He was a decent differential for us in the side. A decent week for us. A game of rank of 4 mil, not ideal, especially considering Salah and Rashford being in our teams. Obviously, Salah had the goal, missed the penalty, had a couple of other chances. Rashford, only the one assist. He had so many chances throughout this game as well. Harvey Barnes also picking up an injury, not ideal. It was said in the press conference that he's very unlikely to play Game Week 31, but is currently touch and go for Game Week 32. Marcus Rashford, if you view here, is expected back on the 27th of April, which is for Game Week 33. And it was also said in a recent Manchester United press conference that it's a chance for the Europa League against Sevilla. So that's definitely good signs as well. If you're looking at Manchester United's fixture schedule, they don't play Spurs until the 28th of April, which is still a fair way away now. So they've got a decent break. Got Forest up next, which is on the 17th, which is in the next day or so. So he's still got a solid 10-day break from Game Week 31 to Game Week 33. And then he should be back for that Sevilla fixture, which is in between this Forest fixture. He's definitely missing it. Should hopefully be back for Tottenham. Even if he isn't back, it's not massively detrimental to the side that he's not there for our Game Week 33 team. As you can see, we go on to our team now. Here is the squad for Game Week 31. There's a decent amount of bench depth here. Harvey Barnes should be back for Game Week 32. Hopefully, he's touch and go. If not, I am looking to downgrade Harvey Barnes actually to Andreas Pereira to free up a little bit of money. I'll kind of show you my transfer plans for the next few weeks, sort of what I'm thinking. It's going to be Barnes down to Andreas Pereira. That frees up a little bit of money. Obviously, that move has made it a bit easier for us now that Barnes has picked up this injury. He may also miss Game Week 32 as well. So if he's not back for Game Week 32, it's probably going to be Barnes to Andreas. So we just sort of show you how the team is going to look. Andreas comes in here. That gives us a decent amount left in the bank. 4.2 left in the bank. That's going to be our transfer for blank Game Week 32. Obviously, we don't have a free hit available. So nonetheless, the team should still be looking good for blank Game Week 32. We'll have 11 starters. That's not a big deal there. Andreas can go into the starting team as well. He can start ahead of Harvey Barnes. Leeds at home is a really, really good fixture. Andreas, obviously not a prolific FPL point scorer, but at home he is pretty good for Fulham. Got himself 6 points Game Week 29, 6 points in Game Week, 8 points in Game Week 26, which is good to see. Also decent underlying numbers as well. Expected goal involvements, 0.33, just over 0.5, 0.4, 0.7 in his last 4 games. So pretty decent expected goal involvements for him. So I'm not too fast playing him, especially in a blank game week. Blank Game Week 32, it's all about trying to get 11 players starting. Leeds at home is a good fixture for Andreas. He's got decent underlying numbers. And then he sort of can just be sitting on the bench for the rest of the year. But the main reason that we look to get Andreas in Game Week 32 is because we'll not only have 2 free transfers available for Game Week 32, we don't want to waste the transfer. It does allow us to make good moves for Game Week 33. As in Game Week 33, I want to go Odegaard out, I want to go Tony out, and I want to bring in some of those more favourable FPL assets right now. Matoma is definitely going to be one that needs to come into the team. He's not going to be in for Game Week 31. I just don't think it's worth it for 1 week against Chelsea away. Then he's blanking, and then it just means we have to take an extra hit to be able to have 11 starting players Game Week 32. And then that does give us enough money to bring in the big man himself, Erling Haaland. That gives us a very comfortable 0.7 left in the bank. He's going to come in game week 33. That will all be for free in game week 33, assuming we don't have to make any other transfers due to injury. Also in that week, Marcus Rashford will be coming back from injury, so that's Rashford back, Matoma's in, Haaland's in. That's a lot of players doubling as well. Man City have doubles coming up, Liverpool have doubles coming up, Manchester United have doubles coming up, Triple Brighton here all have doubles coming up. Also Newcastle do have some double game weeks coming up, so good to have the double Newcastle defence there. That's sort of the thinking right now. And Kane obviously in the side as well. That allow us to have Salah, Haaland and Kane. They're probably the three best premiums in my opinion. Kevin De Bruyne could be a good differential premium as well. Obviously, we can't really afford to get in Grealish here unless we went Rashford out to Grealish this week. But then that would just mean we don't have Rashford in the side for when Manchester United do have their double game weeks. Double game week 34. They're also very, very likely to get another double game. Obviously, got Chelsea, still a fixture to be rearranged. That's going to be very helpful to have Man U players in the squad later down the line as well. So I do prefer Marcus Rashford with 2 double game weeks coming up compared to Grealish with just the 1 double game week for the rest of the season. Obviously, Grealish does play this week against Leicester at home, which is a benefit of having Grealish in now, but I still think Rashford in is the better player in the long term. Answering some questions. Jeff, hello mate, how you doing? Who do I get in for Havertz? Obviously, Watkins I think is a really good pick. If you don't have Watkins, maybe a Newcastle forward, whether that's Isak or Wilson, they could be a go-to option. Looking at the Newcastle fixtures here, they're not only playing blank game week 32, they've also got a double coming up. It's very likely to be rearranged. Brighton is still that fixture that's yet to be played. Aston Villa this week and Everton away, as well as Southampton at home. 3 very good fixtures out of their next 4, so maybe you want to go for Isak there as well. Gabriel Jesus has been in good touch for Arsenal. Obviously, Eddie Nketiah is expected back into that Arsenal team, according to some press conferences. So that's something to look out for, but I still think Jesus should keep his starting spot. Those are a couple of good options. Play me or a Stupinan. This one's from Michael, already playing Trips and Raya. So obviously, we'll have a look back at our team for this week. We've got double Newcastle defence right now. We've got Trips playing as well for us personally. Ben Mee, it's a good fixture. Wolves away for Brentford. We are starting Rico Henry in our team. We've left a Stupin out on the bench. So that kind of gives you a decent comparison. We've opted to go for the Brentford defender over the Brighton defender. So for that reason, I'd probably recommend Ben Mee over Stupinan. Just a better fixture in my opinion. Wolves away. It's a great fixture from a defensive perspective. Stupinan arguably has better attacking potential than Ben Mee, but I just like the fixture from a defensive standpoint. Ehan, hey mate, how you going? McAllister to Grealish for a -4. Lallana back in training, who might push McAllister more defensive. Already have Matoma and March as well. Yeah, fair enough. I think also maybe a Brighton defender as well. Obviously, getting rid of McAllister will allow you to get that Brighton defender in. It frees up the 3rd Brighton slot. And Grealish in is definitely a good transfer. It's not a transfer that we're going to be making this week just because I want to keep Rashford in my team for later on. And as you saw there with my sort of transfer explanation of what I was thinking of doing, it's difficult to get back in Marcus Rashford from Jack Grealish. I kind of want to have Marcus Rashford game week 34 straight away when he has that double game week. So, but yeah, definitely Grealish is a good transfer in. Jeff, I'm free hitting game week 32. Who to get in for Havertz? Also for game week 32, just for the 1 week. If you look at some fixtures, we'll break it down. Game week 32 has got the best fixtures. Obviously, Isak, as I touched on, could be a good option. He's got Spurs at home. Not the best fixture, but still nonetheless a decent chance for him. It'd probably be Ollie Watkins as well. He's a good option. Brentford away. That's a good fixture as well there for Aston Villa. That's not the worst fixture in the world. Gabriel Jesus, also a good option for Arsenal, as I touched on. Southampton at home. Getting those Arsenal assets for game week 32, especially on a free hit, could be worthwhile. I think a triple up on Arsenal is going to be very popular on the free hits. Probably an Arsenal defender, maybe Saka in the midfield or Martinelli. Jesus up top as well. That could be a popular 3 Arsenal players there. So that's also something to consider. Pope to Raya to start, which leaves a doubt of that team. What does that mean, Michael? Are you guys so for who to start, whether it's Pope or Raya? Probably go for Raya, to be honest, especially since I'm guessing you would already have Trippier starting. Double Newcastle defense, it is currently what our team's set up with, but that was not ideal. I was obviously going to be starting Rashford over Botman. This was what the team was going to look like before Rashford's injury. Not ideal that I've got double Newcastle defence. I still prefer double Newcastle defence over a Estupiñán against Chelsea. That is also a potential talking point for the team, whether I want to go Estupiñán starting over Botman. But I still like Newcastle defence has been extremely solid this season. Chelsea, yes, they've been in very, very poor form, but you probably expect them to score in this game. Chelsea away is a difficult one to keep a clean sheet in. Brighton, 2 clean sheets in the last 5 games, so not a massive amount in the last 5. Obviously, Newcastle defence has been very strong all season. As you can see here, just a 1 clean sheet for them in their last 5. To be fair, they haven't conceded a massive amount of goals. Only 1 to Brentford, 1 to West Ham, 1 to Forest, and 1 to Wolves. So potentially a bit unlikely they don't have any more clean sheets in the last 5. But that's also something to discuss. I still look to start Raya though in goals. I think Wolves away is a really good fixture, even though I'm a Wolves fan. I don't fancy us scoring in most games. Obviously, we did score last week against Chelsea, but that was a great goal from Mateus Nunes, and I don't see Wolves scoring those bangers every single week. So potentially, Raya, their starting goals could be a good option. Can you keep up the good work? Thanks, man. I appreciate the support, for real. Would you not be worried about the rotation between Isak and Wilson? Yes, that is definitely a concern there. Obviously, they were playing in conjunction very, very well in their most recent match. They both looked threatening. Wilson, I believe, scored an offside goal. It was Isak that scored an offside goal. One of them scored, one of them had the offside goal. It's kind of tough to pick who's going to be starting every week. I thought Isak was more nailed, especially after he played a couple of really good games. One of them was against Wolves, and then one the week after that as well. I thought Isak was going to be more nailed, but maybe you want to play it a bit safer. If you don't have Ollie Watkins, he's a good option. Tony is still a decent option in his own right, although I would be looking to get out Tony in my team fairly soon. Gabriel Jesus, another decent informed forward there as well, so maybe you want to look at him. Faisal, Maddison to Grealish and Tony to Haaland. Yeah, it's good. It's great moves, honestly. Maddison, to be fair, a good option in his own right. If you can afford straight up Tony to Haaland, that would be preferable, in my opinion. But Maddison to Grealish, if that is a move that you have to make to be able to get in Erling Haaland, then I do think it's definitely worth it. Obviously, Maddison is a good FPL option, but Grealish, still a very, very good replacement. He's got that double game week coming up, which is very handy. Maddison as well, if you look at his underlying, or just not even his underlying numbers, just his FPL point scoring in recent game weeks has not been absolutely massive. Hardly any returns since game week 24. Just this 1 assist here in game week 28. And he's not put up massive expected numbers either. 0.2, 0.1, 0.1. His highest has been 0.89, which was in game week 26. So really, very, very underwhelming. Obviously, a lot of people are hyping him up for this fixture run after Man City. Obviously, plays blank game week 32, Leeds, Everton, Fulham. 3 really good fixtures in a row. But with underlying numbers like that, even with good fixtures, I'm not sure how he's going to go. And if you look at Leicester's fixtures here, not very difficult at all. Bournemouth, Villa, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Chelsea, who haven't been in form, Southampton, who are the worst team in the league this season. Still couldn't produce many FPL points. So Maddison out, probably not the worst move as well. And Grealish, obviously, he's been in good touch for Man City with good fixtures. Michael, you already got me and Trips and got Ray and Pope as GK options. Oh, okay, so it's whether you want to double up on Newcastle or double up on Brentford. That's a tough call. I'd probably double up on Brentford, to be honest. I think Aston Villa, with the form they're in, they probably will score in this game, which is not ideal for us with double Newcastle defence. Looking at it now and phrasing it like that, maybe I want to go for Estupiñán. There's a chance that Brighton do get a clean sheet in this game. Obviously, Estupiñán a lot more attacking than Botman. That could potentially be a late move that we make. Estupiñán, 5 assists this season. I think Botman only has 1 attacking return from memory this year. Yeah, just the 1 assist. So potentially Estupiñán starts for us. Double Newcastle defence was never the plan. Obviously, we wanted to have Rashford playing over Estupiñán if he was fit to go. So I probably would choose the double up on Brentford compared to the double up on Newcastle this week just because of Aston Villa's form. Obviously, Ollie Watkins as well being in the team. I'm happy to have him in the side. Look at these returns. I think we got him in game week 26 or 25. But anyway, since then, I think it was this week where he scored the penalty against Everton. Since then, he's only blanked once for us from then until game week 30. And Aston Villa have been scoring goals. 2 in this game, 2 in this game, 2 here, 3 here. So they are scoring in most games. They actually haven't failed to score in any of their last, 7 games now. So I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle concede in this one, especially away. So maybe we do go Estupiñán in there. I had to do Saka to Grealish or else burn the transfer. Did I make the right choice? Yeah, I think that's a lot of managers going to be a concern, is burning a transfer. That's going to be a concern for us actually next week, is that we're going to have 2 free transfers available, and that's why I'm going to do Barnes down to Andreas that week. Obviously not the best move to make, since we also are starting Andreas for that game week, but it does allow us to set up the team a lot better for the rest of the season. So obviously, yeah, burning a transfer is not ideal. Yes, if you have a free hit, that's probably a good move as well, because you can get Saka back in blank Gameweek 32. Because Saka is going to be a really, really good option for blank Gameweek 32. Ideally, you wouldn't have to burn a transfer. You could keep Saka for Gameweek 32, then getting Grealish maybe Gameweek 33 or 34. That could have been a good move. Maybe if you had another move to make in the squad to use the transfer on, that could have been more preferable. But nonetheless, still, Grealish in is not a bad move. Obviously, a lot of people are looking to get rid of those Arsenal players just because they don't have any doubles left in the season. But ideally, keeping Saka for blank Gameweek 32 would have been nice. Carroll pick one to start. Me, Estupiñán, Chilwell. Yeah, I think a lot of people are tossing out between not only Newcastle and Brighton and also our Brentford defenders. Those are 3 popular defences that people have that they're trying to toss up which defenders to start, because they've all got not great fixtures. Brentford probably have the best fixture, but they're all away matches, which is difficult from a defensive perspective. If I had to pick one to start, probably me, just because I like the fixture the most. Yes, Chelsea have Brighton at home, but Brighton have been scoring a decent amount of goals recently. That Chelsea defence still hasn't been able to put up a massive amount of clean sheets on the board. They conceded to Wolves last week. Yes, it was a good goal that Wolves scored, but I still don't trust that Chelsea defence, in my opinion. Estupiñán and Chilwell both have fairly good attacking potential, to be fair, but I like the clean sheet, the higher chance of the clean sheet for Ben Mee there. I think Brentford should secure a clean sheet away to Wolves. Hopefully they do now, because I have been harping up the Brentford defence. But I'll leave that final decision up to you. Henry or Chilwell? Once again, I'd probably just go Henry. Wolves away, I do like the fixture more. Chilwell, probably more attacking than Henry. It just depends if you want to go for the attacking defender in Chilwell and sacrifice probably the slightly lower chance of a clean sheet, in my opinion. I think Brighton's attack is really, really good. Very unlucky not to have more goals away to Spurs. I would not be surprised if Brighton scored. It's just whether Chilwell can get forward, chip in with a goal or an assist. Whereas Henry, I think, not as good a chance of a goal or assist than Chilwell. Probably a better chance for a clean sheet. Sebastian, hey man, how's it going? Hi, this is my first stream, but I've watched your vids for like 3 months, and my team is Raya, Trent, Trippier, Stones, Matoma, March, Martinelli, Saka, Watkins, Haaland, and Kane. What do you think? Very good team. Also, if you don't, you're probably not going to have to use a free hit. If you do have a free hit available for blank Gameweek 32, obviously that's awesome. But having those double Arsenal midfielders, Martinelli, Saka, that is going to be very helpful for blank Gameweek 32. Trent also a decent option looking forward. Liverpool have that double game week coming up. He has chipped in with a couple of assists in recent game weeks, so Trent's also a really good option. Yeah, also just touching on that, this is actually our first live stream. I was looking back since game week 9, so it has been a really long time since I've done live streams. I actually do really, really like doing the deadline streams. I like talking to people, answering their questions, and just talking about FPL in general, so it's a good chance to do that rather than just in a video format. So it's good. I'm glad that we're back doing the deadline streams. We sort of did change our setup, obviously halfway through the year. Some people would have noticed, if you've been watching the channel for a bit longer, that we introduced our face cam recently this season. That kind of required a change in the setup, which made it harder to do deadline streams, because we did originally do a deadline stream on the iPad, but now the iPad's used for something else. It's getting really old now. It's not working very, very well, so I had to switch to the computer to change the setup. So that's sort of why there's been a bit of a delay in streaming, but now deadline streaming should be a lot more consistent occurrence, and also into next season as well, of course. Shaw, Henry, Estupiñán. Yeah, that's a good point. I actually wanted to go over Luke Shaw. It was hinted that he could potentially be back for the upcoming fixture for Manchester United. I'll actually go on to Manchester United's predicted lineup now. Luke Shaw is a big talking point for this week, whether or not people want to risk starting him, because he also is a chance of coming off the bench as well if he doesn't start, which could be annoying from an FPL manager standpoint if you do own him. Currently, according to Fantasy Football Fixer, looking at it now, Luke Shaw has a 78% chance to start, in their opinion, which is good to see. Malacia with 21% as well, and then a third defender with just the 1%. The comments was for Sunday, yeah, it could be, but we have to see. We have to go 2 sessions to go now, so I'm not sure. That was the manager in regards to Luke Shaw. It has been hinted, though, that he could be a good replacement for the Manchester United injuries that they had. I'll try and get the exact quotes. The manager said, we have very good replacements for Harry Maguire, Lindelof. The replacements were Harry Maguire, Lindelof, and Luke Shaw. So we have players that can replace them, but of course, it is a miss. So that is good to see. It's obviously rumoured that Luke Shaw could be fit for Gameweek 31 when he was name-dropping the defender as a possible replacement for Martinez or Varane. So Luke Shaw, a good chance to start. I'd probably go for Luke Shaw for that reason. Nottingham Forest away, a great fixture. Luke Shaw's got decent attacking potential. The Man U defence has been in pretty good touch recently. We brought in David De Gea double game week 29. He recorded an 8-pointer in game week 27. Then he got the clean sheet game week 29, clean sheet game week 30. So a couple of clean sheets in a row now for Manchester United, which is good to see there. So I think I'd probably start Luke Shaw out of those 3 options. Thoughts on Pedro Porro? Yeah, he's in the scout selection. I always like to look at the scout selection by FPL. He's a popular option this week. Bournemouth at home, you don't get a much better fixture than that from a defensive standpoint. Obviously, Bournemouth at home. Billing's been really good for Bournemouth, to be fair. He's been scoring a few goals, especially in recent game weeks and across the year. But I still think Porro's a good option. In terms of actually transferring him in, I'm not too sure about getting him in just for this week. Obviously, if you've got a free hit game week 32, that would also be good, as game week 32 for Spurs is not ideal. Newcastle away. And if you want to keep Porro long term, I'm not too sure about that either. Newcastle away is not great. Man U at home is not great. Liverpool away is not great. Crystal Palace at home is okay, but you kind of have to wait until game week 35 to get another good fixture for Pedro Porro. If you wanted to transfer him in this week, not a bad option. Bournemouth at home is not great, but just recognize that you're not really going to get too much utility out of him until game week 35. He's probably going to be sitting on your bench for these 3 games anyway. So yes, a good option for this week. Probably not until game week 35 after that, though. He does have good attacking positioning, to be fair. Got himself a goal against Southampton a couple of weeks ago. What's the Chelsea predicted lineup? I'll pull it up now. I'll go through them player by player. If I can find it. Here it is. Chelsea's predicted lineup. In goals, Ariza Balaga, 94%. Also with a recent injury in defence for Koulibaly. He's been definitely ruled out for game week 31. Badia Shil now is the most likely replacement for him. He's got a 50% chance of playing. Obviously, there's a toss-up between him. Cucurella could slot in centre-back. Chalobah could also slot in there. Thiago Silva and Fofana both have a 100% chance of playing. Chilwell, 95%. In that right-back position, Reece James, 33% chance to start. Loftus-Cheek, 35% chance to start. That's kind of in that right wing-back role. So Reece James, not looking ideal to start for Chelsea. Midfielders, they've got Kovacic and Enzo Fernandez being the 2 guys in there. João Felix, Sterling, and Havertz are the predicted front 3. João Felix, 85% chance of starting. Sterling, 62%, so a little bit of doubt there. Maybe it's Mason Mount stepping in for him in that position. Also Mudryk, and Havertz, 93% chance to start up top. So that's the Chelsea predicted lineup. The main ones, Badia Shil could potentially start. Reece James is a big doubt, and Chilwell looks very, very nailed. Rashford to Grealish or Saka. I mean, in terms of short term, you'd probably go for Saka just because he has that fixture in blank game week 32. If you have the free hit chip, then definitely go for Jack Grealish. Leicester at home is a really good fixture, probably a bit better than West Ham away for Arsenal. So if you've got the free hit, go Jack Grealish. You can obviously free hit out of that in game week 32 when Jack Grealish blanks, and then you could have him back in your squad for game week 33 where he's got a good chance to return FPL points. And then Man City have that double coming up as well. We just actually have a look at Jack Grealish here. He's been very, very good form. If you don't have a free hit chip though, you could go Saka in this week. You keep him for a couple of weeks and then go to Grealish after that. Arsenal at home game week 33, so maybe you also don't want Jack Grealish for that fixture. Maybe you go Saka for game week 31, 32, 33. Then switch to Jack Grealish where he has the double in game week 34. And of course, he's got still Brighton to be rearranged. So Grealish, game week 34 onwards is a better pick. But Saka definitely in the short term I like more. If I had to pick an Arsenal midfielder right now, that I would go for Martinelli. He's been in superb form. Obviously, he's scoring a lot of goals in recent weeks. He's now the highest scoring midfielder in FPL. Look at the consistency in the returns for the man. 6-10, 16 blanks there. Only blank he's had since game week 24. 13 points last week against Liverpool. Goal, assist. He is very clinical though. His expected goal involvements aren't massive. Only 0.57 goal involvements for 2 involvements in his most recent game. 0.78 got himself an assist. 0.15 got himself a goal. So his underlying numbers aren't huge, but he's extremely clinical right now. So if you're tossing up between which Arsenal mid to go for, maybe Martinelli. If you've already got Martinelli in your team, then Saka probably the best option. Odegaard, he's still in our team. He's definitely a player that I'm looking to get rid of soon. As we discussed, we will have 2 free transfers available game week 32 because we'll roll this week. We're going to go Barnes down to Andreas. Andreas can start for us blank game week 32 just because he has Leeds at home. Decent underlying numbers as well in his last 4 weeks. Got himself a goal and 2 assists in game weeks 29 and 26 respectively. That gives us a bit more money in the bank. Then game week 33, Odegaard's gone. I've had enough of him. I bought him in hoping he could match Saka for points. Hasn't been able to do that since I believe it was around game week 21, 22. Couldn't get the job done. Then we go Matoma in for Odegaard. Matoma's definitely a player that, by not having him in the team, we increased the risk of a rank decrease massively just because he has an 80% ownership inside the top 1 mil managers. And speaking of a big ownership inside the top 1 mil managers, this man right here, I'm going to be absolutely sweating watching the Leicester game with no Haaland in my team. That is going to be a very, very stressful one. But that is pretty much the team for game week 33. Matoma and Haaland will both be in on a free transfer. Andreas will be in on a free transfer game week 32. Rashford should hopefully be back game week 33 as well, which is definitely preferable. And then we have lots of players doubling. Double Manchester United, who have got 2 doubles. Brighton have still got 2 doubles. Man City have their doubles, which is good to see. Newcastle have their doubles, so we'll have lots of players doubling. Also, Mo Salah has his double as well. The only ones that don't have any doubles here are Watkins and Kane. Those are going to be the 2 guys that will get consistent starts but won't have doubles. Otherwise, pretty much everyone else has at least 1 double for the rest of the season, which is good. This is a pretty good team for game week 33 onwards. Obviously, if there's any further injuries, adjustments we made coming into game week 34. Also, there's more differential punts that I wanted to go for. If the rank is still in the dire situation that it is, then we can definitely look to do that as well. Maybe a change in defense. We want to switch off double Newcastle after their double game week. Also, Ben White could be a player that we look to get out of. Double Arsenal defense is definitely not going to be utilised that much for the rest of the season, especially considering Arsenal's fixtures. Southampton at home, obviously really, really good for game week 32. I want Ben White in the team that week, especially since it's a blank game week. But from game week 33 onwards, Man City away, I'm not starting him there. Chelsea at home, not starting him there. Newcastle away, probably not starting him there. Brighton at home, also probably not starting him there. The only 2 fixtures that I like for Ben White in the rest of the season, apart from game week 32, are Wolves and Forest, and that's not until game week 37. So Ben White out could potentially be a move that we look to make. We have 5.5, so that could actually see this man come back in. It's really good to see him return to fitness. Hopefully he comes back this week. Even if he doesn't, he'll definitely be in by the time game week 34 comes around. That could be the move that we make ahead of game week 34 for Manchester United's double. Then we have triple Manchester United, double up on their defence. I don't really like a double up on Manchester United's attack. I don't think Bruno Fernandes is worth the money. His underlying numbers aren't very good, and he's just not getting very far up the pitch. So I prefer a double up on the Man U defence compared to the attack. Obviously, they have the extra fixture as well, so they're going to have 2 double game weeks coming up. So potentially Luke Shaw in ahead of double game week 34. This ownership will definitely increase a lot by the time double game week 34 comes around. Fairly low right now, which is a 15% ownership. But he's also another option that we could look to get in. Then we've got 0.4. That is a pretty solid team for game week 34 onwards. As I said, any further injuries, there's going to be more changes made to the squad. Also, that's a good question in the chat from Charlie. That was also something that I wanted to touch on as well, and something that I was thinking about earlier in the week when I was just kind of planning out how the team was going to look for the rest of the year, is what to do with the Man City defenders and which Man City defenders are best. There's a lot of players that are getting rotated heavily in that Man City defense right now, except this man. This guy's probably been the most consistent starter. As you can see here, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 29 and 30. He's all got the full 90 minutes in, which is just about as consistent as it's gotten for Man City defensive player minutes. Obviously, you could go for Edison if you wanted to go for a really, really safe goal kick, well, obviously defensive asset to capitalize on that clean sheet. They don't have very good attacking options in defense, Man City. Like, there's not too many defenders there that you're going to say, oh, yeah, they're going to get me a goal or an assist. They have a good chance of doing that. Ruben Diaz hasn't produced any of the attacking action this season, unfortunately for him. But he just gets consistent minutes. You'd have to pay the most for him, though. 6 mil is not ideal. Ake could also be a decent option. He's getting okay minutes. But he's just a risk also with the Champions League rotation. He started, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the last 5 for Man City. Got rested for Forest, rested for Villa, played against Arsenal. So he's getting good minutes in recent weeks. A bit cheaper than Diaz, but obviously has a decent chance of rotation as well. Akanji, also a decent option. He started each of the last 5 as well for Man City. But I think if defenders come back into that Man City team as well, I think Diaz is going to be the most likely one to keep his place. Laporte, he's not been getting any minutes at all recently, so I wouldn't be too worried about him. Potentially, Diaz was the conclusion that I came to as earlier in the week is the most safe option, but unfortunately it's the most expensive. The next best would probably be Ake. If I had to pick one, play Matoma or March. Wow, that's such a tough decision. I mean, you could honestly play both given their form right now. Matoma definitely should have had himself a goal last week against Tottenham. But March, really, he's just knocking away as well in his own right. 3 returns in his last 4 matches, now 9-5 blanks against Bournemouth. Very frustrating. Had a couple of decent chances. Could not turn any of them home, and 7 points away to Spurs. He was pretty good before that as well. Massive 19 points earlier on in the season. He dropped off for 3 weeks here, but in his most recent 4 matches, very good to see him returning 3 of his last 4. Matoma's been better in terms of putting FPL points on the board, but I think March has had slightly better underlying numbers across the season per 90. If I had to pick one, it'd probably be Matoma just because of his form, but you can honestly play both, and I think it's still worth it. Should I keep Chilwell or transfer him out? I just don't see much usage for those Chelsea assets, to be honest. A lot of people were really keen on them for a bit earlier on in the season, only a few game weeks ago. It felt like Chilwell was going to be such a good option. He's only got a 10% ownership, but I think this ownership is around 35 to 40% inside the top 1 mil managers. So it clearly is a popular option amongst the best FPL players in the game. But he's just not really produced the goods. 9 points in Gameweek 29 was good. He didn't get any returns in his first fixture of the double. Before that, 1, 8 and 10. This was kind of what built the hype here, these 2 returns. But wanted to get Chilwell back in. Obviously, since then, only 1 return in his last 4 FPL games. And I'm not a massive fan of these fixtures for Chelsea. Brighton at home, I honestly think they're going to concede. Brentford at home, I wouldn't be surprised if they concede. Arsenal away, I think they're definitely going to concede. Obviously, blanking game week 32. Yes, they still going to have a double game week coming up. They've got that fixture against Man U to be rearranged, but it's not even a very good fixture, to be honest. If they get to put in game week 37, Man City away, Man U away, it's a very, very bad double game week. Bournemouth away, Forest at home. Really, there are only 2 good fixtures left for the season. So I think Chilwell out, honestly, could be a good move. I just don't see him being worth 6 mil. I don't think Chelsea are going to get that many clean sheets for the rest of the year. And Chilwell obviously has a chance of rotation. You saw it against Wolves. That's all a big headache with him. He does have a good chance of playing game week 31. But I don't think he's worth 6 mil. I don't think he's just got enough good fixtures left in the season. Start 2, Mings, Botman, me. I'd probably go Botman and me. I think Newcastle will score. Aston Villa have been in a very good goal scoring form, to be fair, as well. I'd definitely go for me. Toss up between Mings and Botman. I think I slightly prefer the Newcastle attack to score, so that's why I'd go for Botman. But I would not be surprised if Aston Villa score as well, considering they're in good form. I think there's going to be goals in that Aston Villa-Newcastle game. I don't think Mings or Botman will get clean sheets, but I think May's got a very good chance of a clean sheet against Wolves. Henry or Chilwell out for Ake? I think Chilwell out for Ake, George, just based on kind of what I went through there with Ben Chilwell. I think Rico Henry, to be fair to him, he doesn't have much usability for the rest of the season. The good thing is with Henry, he plays in blank game week 32, which is massive. Aston Villa at home, it's an okay fixture considering Aston Villa's good goal scoring form. Chelsea away, you're probably benching him this week. Nottingham Forest, you can start him. West Ham at home, you can start him. The good thing with Henry's is a lot cheaper as well. So by selling Chilwell, you have a bit more money to spend around the rest of the squad. Where if you've gone Henry up to Ake, you're having to burn money in the bank. So I think I go Henry. I like Henry this week. Wolves away is a good fixture. Villa at home, you could definitely play him there. 34, you could definitely play him there as well, if you don't have all your defenders doubling already in that game week. So probably Chilwell to Ake would be my move. Perisic or Pedro Porro, I'd probably go for Porro just because I really, really like his positioning. They both do get up the pitch, but Pedro Porro, I've really liked what he's done. Also, when he was in the Portuguese league, he was averaging a very, very good goal involvements to game ratio. His expected goal involvements are extremely high, 0.93 for that game against Southampton, 0.3, 0.3 again here, and nearly 0.3 against Brighton. Pretty decent considering that he's a defender. He is getting good minutes as well, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. He started all of these games. Perisic has probably a slightly higher chance of rotation as well. Porro at just 4.8 as well. Another benefit of having him in the team. I'm not sure how much Perisic cost right now, but I'm pretty sure he's not 4.8. 5.3 is Perisic. And then look at this rotation. It's so much more. 53 minutes played against Southampton. Didn't play against Forest. Didn't play against Chelsea. Didn't get the start against West Ham. You just don't trust him to get starting minutes. His expected goal involvement's also not as high as Pedro Porro, and he's more expensive. I think Pedro Porro is probably my preferred Spurs asset. March or Matoma, I'd probably prefer Matoma. A bit annoyed that I've gone with March over Matoma. Still, to be fair, March did me well compared to Matoma last week, and he's still been good in his last 4 fixtures. But I think Matoma is just putting out more FPL points on the board, especially in recent game weeks. 10 minutes till the deadline, lads, as well. I just wanted to say, make sure everyone's teams are locked in. Make sure you got your bench order sorted. Make sure you got the starting 11. Make sure you got the captaincy locked in. Haaland's not in our team this week, so we've got Harry Kane with the captain's armband. Salah taking the vice-captain's armband. I'm praying Salah can take his chances this week. Really am. Thanks for the sub, bro. I appreciate it. We are trying to hit 12,000 subscribers by the end of the season, so if you are enjoying the stream, always, if you feel like it, drop it. I'll give the channel a subscribe. I do appreciate all the subscriptions, and we're trying to hit 12k by Gameweek 38, so hopefully we can reach that goal. Mohamed Shaw, latest news. Yeah, so it looks like he could be a chance to play. I checked his predicted chance of starting by Fantasy Football Fix. It's sitting at nearly 80%. So they definitely think he's got a good chance to start. And Fantasy Football Fix in general are pretty good at getting those predicted lineups bang on. So I think he should be good to go for this game against Nottingham Forest. He also was rumoured, there was comments made about him by the Manchester United manager that he's going to be a good replacement for either Lissandro Martinez or Varane, since they could potentially be out. And he was said to be a decent replacement option for those guys, which probably means he's good to go for Game Week 31. 80% chance of starting. I do like those chances. JBP, start Chilwell, Botman, or Stupinan. Other two are Trippier and Zinchenko. Thanks. So, yeah, I think Trippier and Zinchenko, definitely give them the nod. I like your thinking. In terms of Chilwell, Botman, and Stupinan, as a toss-up between those guys, I'm not a massive fan of the double Newcastle defence this week. So, we've actually got Botman on our bench as well. Late change to the squad as Stupinan is now starting over Botman. I don't really want to go double Newcastle against Aston Villa, as I do think Villa will score. So that will mean I think you have to go for Stupinan and Chilwell. If you're going for a back four, then you go Trippier, Zinchenko, Chilwell, or Stupinan. Shaw to start or Botman? I'd probably start Shaw. I think he's got a good chance of playing. Based on the comments made about him, based on his predicted chance of starting by Fantasy Football Fix, I'd probably go for Luke Shaw, and he's got a better fixture. Rashford and Maddison to Saka and Grealish for a -4. Yeah, not a bad move. Not a bad move. Just make sure you have 11 starting players for blank Gameweek 32. Try not to avoid taking any further hits. -4, obviously not ideal to get in Saka and Grealish, but as long as you don't compound it with another -4 in blank Gameweek 32. But yeah, it's a good move. To play March or Botman, already have Trippier and Matoma, or do I play Willock? I'd probably play March I don't want to double up on Newcastle defence personally, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to you guys. I'd honestly be keen on double Brighton attack. I don't think having March and Matoma both playing against Chelsea away is a bad thing. I honestly think they could both find returns in this game. Martinelli over Saka, I agree. I think Martinelli is a better option than Saka. If you're tossing out which Arsenal attacking midfielder or which Arsenal midfielder to go for, I think Martinelli is my number one choice. Saka's number 2. Odegaard's number 3, especially considering price as well. Aviator Cameron, Luke Shaw will probably have to start as left centre back. Nonetheless, if he's starting, I'm happy to have him in the team. I'd be happy to play him if I had him. That's for sure. Even if he was starting. Start Matoma or March. Honestly, you could start both. If I had to pick one, I'd go for Matoma. Bench one of Mudryk, Fofana, or Andreas Pereira. I'd probably bench Mudryk just because I don't think he's got a good chance of playing. I've got the Chelsea predicted team right here. The predicted front 3 is João Felix, Raheem Sterling, Havertz. And Mudryk hasn't been that great when he's played, so I'd probably bench Mudryk. Fofana has an okay chance of a clean sheet. He's got a 100% chance of starting. It's just whether Brighton are going to score. I think Brighton will score in this one, but I'd still prefer Fofana over Mudryk. Sell Odegaard for Grealish for free. That is a move that we could do this week, but I don't want to because I don't have a free hit available for blank Gameweek 32, and I need Odegaard here for this Southampton fixture in blank Gameweek 32. That is definitely the Gameweek that I want to keep him for. Then Gameweek 33, he's gone. Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton. 4 fairly strong defences in general, especially Newcastle and Man City. I don't want to have him in for those weeks. So I wouldn't make the move unless you have a free hit available. Just because Grealish does blank in Gameweek 32, you could hold Odegaard until Gameweek 32 and then look to get him out later. Is Saka or Grealish better? Saka is better for the next 3 weeks. Arsenal's fixtures, West Ham, Southampton, Man City away. I prefer Saka for these 3 weeks. Then Gameweek 34, once Man City have the double, then you can get in Jack Grealish. Especially, I like those Arsenal players because they play in blank Gameweek 32. If you don't have the free hit, it's so much easier to navigate if you have players playing that week already. Looking at Grealish's fixtures, though, Leicester at home, yes, it's a good fixture, but then he blanks. Arsenal at home as well, not ideal. So I'd honestly prefer Saka for the next 3 weeks, and then definitely it's time for Grealish. Gameweek 34 onwards, great fixtures there. Also, Grealish has a chance of getting rested. I'll have a look at the Man City predicted lineup. I haven't actually had a look at their predicted team yet, but since Grealish did play the full 90 in the Champions League midweek, he has a chance of getting rested here. According to the Fantasy Football Fix, he's been given a 100% chance of playing, so that's definitely good news for Grealish owners. That's also come on the back of Foden getting that appendix injury, so he's definitely going to be out, or the issue with his appendix, should I say. So that also just increases the chance of both Mahrez and Grealish playing. They both have a 100% chance of starting, which is good to see. Centre backs, Ake 80%, Diaz 100%, Akanji 100%, obviously Haaland pretty much 100% to start in striker. So yeah, I do think, yes, Grealish has got a good fixture this week of Leicester at home, but I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal put goals past West Ham. Saka could definitely get on the score sheet. The good thing with Saka is on PKs as well, whereas Grealish isn't. Sell Odegaard for Grealish or Chilwell to Ake. Free hit on 32, so cannot roll the transfer. If you had to make a move and you got the free hit available, give me Odegaard for Grealish. That's the move I'd make. I always start Matoma and March together because they have similar skills. Yeah, I think that they do score fairly similar most weeks, and they've got a good fixture. They both generally get involved. It's a good observation. Maddison and Rashford to Saka and Grealish, or just Rashford to one of them. I have a free hit and wildcard. Oh, no worries then. Don't stress about bringing in Grealish. Then you could definitely bring in Grealish. You could just go Rashford to Grealish and keep Maddison. Man City away is not a great fixture, but after that, the fixtures do get a bit better for Leicester. So maybe you could do that. Also, I'm not necessarily sure if Saka's worth a -4. If you're then just going to be getting him out, Gameweek 33 or 34, he's got Man City away, Gameweek 33. So I wouldn't really want to bring in Saka on a -4 because you got 2 good fixtures here. Fair enough. But you've got a free hit, so you don't necessarily need to transfer him in. You can just free hit him in Gameweek 32. And then after that, not great fixtures: Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton. So you wouldn't really want Saka for those weeks either. So I don't think he's a -4 worthy candidate. So I think you hold Maddison. Maddison actually does pretty well against Man City as well. He did really well away to Man City last season. So hold Maddison and then just go Rashford to Grealish. I'm on a free game with 32 free transfer. Can't be rolled. I bought Darlow last game week, but he didn't play. Oh, I'll give you Man U's predicted team. Away to Forest. Their predicted back four is Wan-Bissaka 52% chance, Darlow about 40% chance. So that's not ideal. Obviously, if you do have Darlow in the team, he's not got a great chance of playing. Most people in free hits can keep Rashford on the bench. Yeah, 100%. No stress there. It's Johnny. How's it going, man? How is it going? That is pretty much up until the deadline. Just about it. 10 seconds to go until the deadline, lads. Make sure the teams are locked in. Okay, my team's sorted. I probably should have checked that a bit earlier before. It was 10 seconds before the deadline. But be good. I'm happy. I've switched away from double Newcastle defense. I've got a Estupiñán in the team. I'm happy with that. Double a Brighton against Chelsea away. Honestly, not too fussed about that. Not ideal that Rashford was injured. Otherwise, he'll be starting ahead of Estupiñán. Not ideal that we have Odegaard still on the team, but he's going to stay for blank Gameweek 32, and then he's gone. Kane's captain, Salah's vice captain. Lovely jubbly. And that should pretty much be the deadline sorted. Good luck to everyone as well for Gameweek 31. Make sure your teams are well set up for the rest of the season. Make sure you plan ahead for the doubles, for the blanks. You don't want to get caught out taking a massive amount of hits for the rest of the year. Aviator Cameron, also thanks for all the advice in the chat as well, helping out people with their questions. I do appreciate the FPL community coming together to help each other out, solve the issues. If I reload this, I'm guessing it's going to kick me out. Yes, so, okay. That is pretty much it. Thank you for everyone tuning into the stream. Obviously, this was the first time we've streamed in a while, so I do thank everyone that has tuned into the stream. I just wanted to say, we are going to be doing lots more deadline streams for the rest of the year as well. Pretty much for every game week, I'm going to try and do a deadline stream for the rest of the season. And if you enjoyed the stream, definitely subscribe to the channel. We are trying to hit 12,000 subscribers by the end of the season. So if you guys did enjoy what you saw, please subscribe. It does definitely help us out a lot. And I will see you guys tomorrow. We're going to be uploading a knee-jerk reaction. Monday will be transfer plans. Tuesday is probably going to be team selection. That is pretty much the upcoming video schedule, so stay posted for those videos as well. And I'll see you guys very, very soon.